Hello everyone, this is Frank Rotz. Wanted to do a video today about, after discussing some bass science, I wanted to get into some lure logic and really go into detail about the differences between attracting qualities, triggering qualities, and trying to find a balance between all of those. The main reason I wanted to start out with these attracting qualities is because these are the lures that a lot of anglers, bass anglers, really like to start out with. And the reason is we need to think that we need to key these bass in order to get strikes. So as you can see, attracting qualities include wobble, vibration, flash, and bright colors. So basically, like this Spro, this Uruku shad is a rattler. You can see it's got a lot of rattles. It's got a pretty wide wobble. This Berkeley power bait, this swim shad, it's got a deep groove with a big paddle tail, so it's got quite a bit of vibration in that package as well. And as you can see, something like this Chartreuse Terminator spinnerbait, it's a brighter package than most people would initially throw on a spinnerbait. But in essence, it's to get the bass's attention. And there's a real time and place for these attracting type of quality lures. And we also have to bear in mind that there is a limited window for success with these lures. Bites can last for 15 minutes to roughly an hour when you're fishing these. These are going to be during active time periods. Usually you're talking about summer, warm, consistent weather, and late summer, early fall. Now the real pluses for these are you can find groups of active bass with these, particularly this one is known for it. And obviously if you're tournament fishing, your angling success is going to depend on knowing which one of these you like to throw and how to be successful. But however, there are some drawbacks, and throughout the duration of a year, bass are neutral. Right after ice out, I caught on this same lure in a blue chrome, I caught a big 20-inch female bass. First fish of the year a few years back, but a lot of times this is going to be too much waddle, too much vibration for them. Something like this may be better, or maybe your spinnerbait. They will not chase these lures, bass, throughout the course of a year as often as we think, and that's something I'm going to get into in a later episode. But for today, we'll just finish off with the attracting qualities, is that they're to get bass's attention when fish are active, and they tend to catch a lot of smaller bass too. They will catch big bass when bass are active, but in the northern part of the country, you're going to get lots of 14s, 16s, and 18s on these. But I have caught some bigger ones, like I said, 20 inches on those. So that's a summation of the attracting qualities within lures. Now we'll just go on to the triggering qualities here, which is kind of the flip side. Now a lot of people, like I said, are mostly familiar with your attracting qualities, but your triggering qualities include natural shapes, long and thin profiles with colors reflective within nature. So you can see, like this Mepps Comet minnow right here, it rotates on a 360. This minnow, this is one of the best fish catchers of all time. It's a classic, it's often overlooked, but it's got enough vibration to get them in and get their attention. This is probably one of my #1 clear water bass lures, clear shallow water. They'll hit it all year, but it does have trebles, so it's not exactly the most weedless. Another triggering quality would be like something triggering quality lure like this jig. Even though it does have some rattles in it, it just kind of looks like a little crawfish. So something like that, and we're talking something within nature, and perhaps even I'll throw it in here, something like this floating Rapala. As I mentioned in my Bass Myths Midwest Outdoors article, this floating Rapala is one of the best there is. Extremely versatile. I'm even still learning to fine tune them and when to implement them. So that's a summary of your triggering quality. They have a great window for consistent success within the world of bass fishing. So meaning all of these can probably catch bass spring, summer, fall. So the consistency is extremely good. And if you look at any big bass expert, the pluses are that all the big bass experts are going to agree that lunkers have a hard time getting acclimated to these offerings. Learning how to fish structure leads to bass mastery. That's where that'll really particularly come into play. But with the natural looking colors bass don't get acclimated to them as readily as they do this boy right here, something that's going to be bright. And of course there is a drawback, like with anything plus and a minus. Your negatives are these are slower to locate fish. That's a slow roll and spinnerbait right there. You can't really fish this fast. You could, but most people twitch it, run it slower. Same thing with your jig, you're going to run it slow. And but it's not as hard to find these fish if you look at my other clip about pH, oxygen, and vegetation theory. If you know how to find the pH, oxygen, and vegetation to find fish, you can have success with these. So that's pretty much a rundown on triggering, and we'll get to the very last but not least. Just kind of going to talk about what you like. You need a balance of both. The key is to continual success is you need a balance between the two. You need to get the bass's attention and you need to remain natural. Something like this wave worm, it's got some kind of scent in it called mopolo or mopolo. It's like an anise, I believe, but it's that's one of my biggest bass catchers to date. It starts working really well when they're active, and I really like it. And then another example would be like a classic shad, something like this, like a swim bait with a dual paddle, not as attention getting and not as much vibration as this, but still having that paddle tail, double action. And of course what you could do would be, if you wanted to, you can match that spinnerbait, that swim bait with that jig. You could hook it sideways or you could hook it through the lip like that, and then you could have your package that way for bigger bass trying to find the right combination. So that's pretty much a rundown with balance, and that's something that takes a lifetime to kind of learn. As I wrote right here, it's important. None of us fish the same way. Some of us prefer spinning gear, casting gear. There's lots of different ways we like to fish. So as I mentioned, experiments are going to be what pays off for us. I'm using more bait casting than I did spinning years ago, so that's something that even I'm getting more acclimated to, even after years of using bait casters on and off. So there's lots of room for growth and experiment, and hopefully this will help. This Lure Logic little clip will help us determine what we're going to use this season. This is Frank Rotz, and please subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of stuff and you want to see more. Appreciate it. Thank you.